On YouTube, this is Alex Blair's finally signing back in to give you an update on my Geargia Deskbot deck profile. I've been working hard on this deck to make it fit my play style, and I think I found the combination of cards. So let's get right into it. First up, we've got 3 copies of Geargia Augur. It's first turn Geargia X. It's called You Want That First Turn +1, and it's a compatible card with Machine Duplication, which you do run in 3s. So, yeah. Next, we've got 3 copies of Geargia Accelerator. It's a staple. It's Geargaia's. You have to play them. You have to play them. Next, we've got 1 copy of Geargia Armor. I only play the 1 because I'm more catered toward the Augur play. I like normal summoning Augur rather than trying to set armor and just leave him there, because with Dark Hole and Raigeki, it's really just common for an opponent to just blow it up while it's face down, and you won't get the effect that way. I only play 1 Arsenal. 1 Arsenal gets you to your armor, it gets you to your Augurs, so you can machine dupe it, and it's a good card with your Iron Calls. So you play the 1 of. It only merits a 1 of to me, though. It's not that great, and it can turn a good hand bad really fast. Next, we have, for Deskbots, 3 copies of Deskbot 3. I skipped the 1, I skipped the 2, and I went straight to 3. It's the best one. It's Tour Guide. It increases the attack for all of your Deskbots, and it's your OTK card, honestly speaking. So yeah, you run all 3. You want to see him as early as possible, and you're going to be searching him almost every game. And we run 3 copies of Deskbot 4. It's the less aggressive card. It doesn't do damage, but that +2 when you resolve the attack is all that matters. You want to resolve that effect every game and as often as possible. So you play all 3, you get to him, and you resolve that effect. Next, we've got 3 copies of Deskbot 5. Deskbot 5 makes Deskbot 4 and out to towers, and it pops back row on its own, so it merits a 3 of to me. It can turn really good hands really bad. It's a very dead card to draw, but you take care of that in this deck, and it merits the 3 of. And I know you guys know I played the Genlock before, but I switched it up, and I decided to run the Karakuri engine. 1 Birdman, 1 Nishipachi, and 1 Saizan. I like going to the Karakuris. I like the big board advantage. I like getting all those +2s and +1s off of the Burritos, and just making your opponent sweat when you're sitting behind a field of 2,800 beat sticks. That's the way I like to play. I like to put advantage in front of my opponent, and I like to play aggressive. So the Karakuri engine really helped me do that. Next, we've got our spells. 3 copies of Machine Duplication. It's your OTK card. You resolve that so you can OTK, or you can resolve it to get out more Deskbot 4, so you can resolve that effect. You want that effect to resolve, so having more of them on the field only makes it better. It helps you rank 4, it helps you make big boards, but really it's your OTK card. Next, we've got 3 copies of Iron Call. It's rank 4 food. You will rank 4 with this card every time you get it. That's it. That's literally it. It's worth it. You'd be surprised how often rank 4s come into play in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, but yep, that's it. Next, we have 3 copies of Transmodify. This deck, if you've noticed, is all about names. Deskbot 3 gives Deskbots attack points. It brings out other Deskbots. Deskbot 4 only brings out other Deskbots. Geargaia's, the engine works solely when you have a Geargaia name on the board. So, you get to your names. If you have a Deskbot 3 on the board, you transmodify into a Geargaia and you make a rank 4 play. If you need to get to a Deskbot 4, then you transmodify 3 into a 4. Or if you have any of your level 4 monsters, you transmodify into Deskbot 5 and pop a back row. Popping the back row does eliminate the -1 of transmodify, but honestly, this card makes the deck more versatile and gives you more plays to work with. Next, we have, for brick hands, 3 copies of Magical Mallet. I did play Upstart Goblin, and I didn't like it. I like to OTK my opponents and giving them 1,000 hurts. Also, most of the time, drawing 1 card didn't help a brick hand. It was still equally bricky, and it was hard to play into it, or I just lost the duel. So Magical Mallet, it eliminates brick hands. It's the only card in the game that you can draw 3 of and not brick. Seriously speaking, you can never brick because it shuffles all of them back. Also, Deskbot 5, Saizan, and Nishipachi, those cards need to stay in the deck. They need to stay in the deck. You can't really use the full power of Deskbot 4 if you have all of your Deskbot 5s in hand, and you can't use the full power of the Karakuri engine if you have a Nishipachi or Saizan in hand, so you need to put those cards back in the deck. Next we've got 1 copy of Soul Charge. If you ever get board wiped, bring him back. Just drop Soul Charge and bring him back. I mean, getting rid of the Karakuri engine usually takes a Raigeki or a Dark Hole, and just counter it. Just bring him back with a Soul Charge, and you'll be fine. And then the last spell, one Raigeki. Everybody should be playing it. It's a staple. You have to play this card. Next for traps, we've got 6 of them. 3 copies of Call of the Haunted. Again, I want to resolve my Deskbot 4s. So if I get Mirror Forced, or if anything happens to it, say Breakthrough Skill, and it goes to the graveyard, I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to bring it back, and I'm going to push to resolve that effect. Because once I resolve that effect, I can go off with my Karakuri engine. You can't, like, Deskbot 4 puts on enough monsters for you to bring out all of your burritos or all of your berets. See, then we have 3 copies of Limit Reverse. The same thing as Call of the Haunted, just for weaker monsters. So yes, this card will, most of the time, be used to bring back Deskbot 4 to resolve that effect, or to bring back, say, Nishipachi and maybe interrupt your opponent's battle phase. But for the most part, this card's really just there for the Deskbots. You want to resolve that effect. If you have the numbers on the board, you can always go into your extra deck and make your synchro plays, and that's what this deck is all about. Creating big boards and putting a bunch of aggressive cards in front of your opponent. Next, that's it for the deck. That's 40 cards. It's pretty good to me. Moving on to the extra deck, we've got 3 copies of Geargiga X. He's the searcher for the deck. He gets all of your hands the way you want to be. And honestly, you're gonna go through a lot of your machines really, really fast. So yeah, you want to have as many of him as possible just to make sure that you can always search what you need. Next, we have 2 copies of Gistel. Gistel, he's cheaper now, and he's so very effective. This card is, I don't know, it might get limited. It might just get limited because everybody's going to be playing Gistel everywhere. But it's a good card. It helps you make your Soul Charge plays aggressive. Being the Soul Charge doesn't let you attack, you can just like pop bounce a bunch of stuff, and more often than not, the second one does come into play. Like, some people give me a little slack for it, but yeah, playing the second one, yeah, it works. It works. Next, we have 1 copy of Diamond Direwolf. There's always that one set card that you don't want to deal with on your opponent's side of the field. Also, with that, it clears the board, so you can resolve Deskbot 4's effect. I mean, you rank 4 into 2, and then you eliminate him. So there's two open spaces for Deskbot 4 to work with. So that works for me. We have 1 Gegaga Samurai. It's an OTK card. It just helps you push for damage and just make your opponent put your opponent in a crunch. You know, you want to put the pressure on them at all times. That's what this deck is all about. So, 1 Gegaga Samurai. Next, for rank 3 or rank 5s, we have 1 copy of Shark Fortress. It's another OTK card. It serves the same function as Gegaga Samurai, and it's pretty live considering you run all 3 Deskbot 5s. And then we have 1 copy of Adrius, Keeper of Armageddon. If you looked at my rank 4s, you'll notice that I have the 1 OTK card and a bunch of stuff to bounce my opponent's cards. Well, Adrius serves the same function. If I can't do it with my rank 4s, I'll go into it with my rank 5s. Next, for rank 3s, we have 1 copy of Geargiga XG. He makes the machine dupe OTK perfect. Your opponent can't stop it. Once you get Deskbot 3 in the field, you machine dupe it, then you increase the attack points of whatever monster Deskbot 3 brought out, and then you rank 3 all of your Deskbots into this guy. And if your opponent was hoping that face-down Mirror Force was going to save him, then, you know, he's going to lose. He's just going to lose. But if you can't get into XG, we have a supplement. Its name is Alucard. I mean, if you can't neg all of your opponent's effects on board, you can at least pop the back row that's getting in the way. So you run the Alucard. And then for our synchros, we only run 4 of them. We've got 2 copies of Beredo. He's pretty easy to make with Deskbot 5 as a level 5 in the deck. You can go with your Birdman into him. You can go with Saizan and any of your level 4s, or you can go into Nishipachi with another level 5. And I cater toward him more because he pluses. I want pluses in my hand. If my opponent can get rid of him, I want to have something I can do in my hand. Moving on, we've got 1 copy of the Beret. I don't like him that much, but Beredos, that's an OTK. Putting them all on the board, that's an OTK. So he's a good card. Changing battle position is pretty effective, actually, in the current meta, considering most cards are really feeble in defense position. But, yeah, it works, but it's not my favorite. And then we've got, lastly, 1 copy of Naturia Landiois. Beast is good against Necros. Barkion is good against Burning Abyss, but Landiois is good against all of them. And if you look at my spell lineup, I have 14 spells. That means that after I resolve both of my Barredo effects, I'm going to get to draw 2, and there's a good chance that I'm going to have a spell in one of those 2, or I'm going to have a spell in my hand. So this card's always live, and if it's not, bluff them. There's nothing like mind-fucking an opponent for a win. Alright, guys. Well, that's it for the extra deck. That's the deck profile, guys. Let me know what you think. Comment, like, and subscribe, and peace out, YouTube.